In this video clip, we will look at the sum and difference formula for sine, cosine, and tangent. Previously, we only look at the formula for 2.8, which is this one, which is cosine alpha minus cosine beta, which is cosine alpha cosine beta plus sine alpha sine beta. So one here is minus, here is plus. For cosine, then here is cosine cosine, then sine sine. So that was the difference formula for cosine. Now, today, we're going to do is we want to look at the formula for cosine alpha plus beta. So that's the sum formula. It's actually this one. Let's see how we got this one. We know cosine alpha plus beta can be written as cosine alpha minus negative beta. The reason we want to write in this way is because we only know the difference formula for cosine alpha minus an angle. Again, go back there again. See, here is minus. Then we get addition. We didn't know the plus. Okay, so for the plus is minus negative beta. And then we apply the formula for difference. If here is minus, then here will be plus. All right, so then we'll have a cosine alpha here, and then cosine negative beta this angle, and then here minus, we should write plus, then sine alpha sine negative beta, because we treat this negative beta as the same angle. So that's why we have a minus here, and then plus minus here, and then plus here. Okay. Now, cosine negative beta equals cosine beta. Recall the formula we learned before. Cosine negative alpha is cosine alpha. Okay, negative sign, you know, it doesn't matter or not. It doesn't matter there is a negative or not, they are equal. Okay, but for sine is different. If you have a negative, you pull it out. So that's why here we then have a negative beta, we pull it out. So then we have a negative here, because here was plus. When this negative sign gets out, this negative sign, then it goes out here. Okay, it goes out here. This is the one. Okay, but for cosine negative beta, again, that equals cosine beta. So that's how we got this formula. If here is the sum of two angles, and then here will be subtraction, which is totally different for the difference formula. Previously, again, here is minus, here should be plus. Go back here again. Minus plus. But here, If it's plus, then it's minus. Okay, now we got this formula. Now we like to know is sine alpha plus beta. Recall the formula right here. Sine alpha plus beta equals cosine pi over 2 minus sine alpha plus beta. Okay, you treat alpha and beta as a single angle, single quantity, by the formula we learned before. You see right here, sine pi over 2 minus alpha is cosine beta. And cosine pi over 2 minus alpha is sine alpha. Okay, so we use the formula right here. Here, sine this whole quantity alpha plus beta, we use the formula which one? Is the one right here. Sine alpha equals cosine pi over 2 minus alpha. Okay. So then we combine pi over 2 minus alpha and then minus beta. Okay. So down here, negative sign goes to alpha and beta. So that's why we have a negative. But in this case, we want to combine pi over 2 minus alpha. It's because we want to use the difference formula for cosine. Okay. Now, cosine one angle, which is pi over 2 minus alpha, this is one angle, minus the other angle. Then by the formula we learned before, again 2.8 right here, minus plus. So then we will have as cosine, sine. Here is minus, here is plus. Then first quantity is pi over 2 minus alpha. We put here, and the beta is the beta here. Again, subtraction here gives addition here. Okay, gives addition here. This is the one. Okay, now then sine. Sine, the first quantity is pi over 2 minus alpha. That's the one right here. And then sine beta. Here again is negative. Then here will be again positive. Okay, positive. All right, then we write it back. Cosine pi over 2 minus alpha is just sine alpha. Okay, which formula is that? Cosine pi over 2 minus alpha. You see, cosine pi over 2 minus alpha is sine alpha. Okay. So, and then sine pi over 2 minus alpha is cosine alpha. So then what we get is sine one angle plus another is sine, cosine, sine. Okay, basically with the formula right here. Sine alpha plus beta is sine, cosine, sine. Sine the first angle, cosine second angle beta, plus cosine alpha, sine beta. Similarly, here is that you may have a subtraction here. Okay, and one may derive this sine alpha minus beta, this formula by this way. You see, sine alpha minus beta is cosine pi over 2 minus this quantity, alpha minus beta. Okay, and then this negative sign guy is inside, so you have a minus alpha, and then minus is plus. Okay, now you then combine pi over 2 minus alpha, this one is an angle, plus another one. So then you know the sum formula of cosine is cosine, this plus sign gives us negative sign. And then sine, the first quantity is pi over 2 minus alpha. And then sine beta. And then we know pi over 2 minus alpha is sine alpha. And here sine pi over 2 minus alpha is cosine alpha. We keep negative sign right here. So sine one angle minus another is sine, cosine, sine. Here is negative, here is negative, which is different from cosine. For cosine, here is negative, here will be plus, and therefore cosine one angle minus another it was cosine, sine. But for sine will be sine, cosine, sine. Okay, so the formula is actually this one. You see, sine, cosine, sine, cosine, sine. Cosine, sine. Subtraction. Here is subtraction, here is subtraction. All right, now we want to close this one. And then for tangent, that's tangent alpha plus beta, okay? And tangent alpha minus beta. How to figure out this one? You may prove yourself, but here, you know, after you prove, you may compare with my proof here. Tangent one angle plus minus another angle is the ratio of sine over cosine. Then you apply the formula separately. Sine is sine, cosine, sine. Plus gives us plus, minus gives us minus. Cosine one angle plus minus another angle. Cosine is cosine, sine. The top one is plus, so here is minus. If the bottom one is minus, here will be plus. So we prove plus minus at the same time. Then everywhere divided by cosine alpha, cosine beta. Okay, and then you have a cosine beta cancel each other. Sine alpha over cosine alpha is tangent alpha. Here you cancel sine alpha. Here you cancel cosine alpha. You have sine beta over cosine beta, which is tangent beta. Okay. Now, cosine alpha, cosine beta, you divide it by cosine alpha, cosine beta. So you got the first one is 1. Okay. Yeah, cosine alpha, cosine beta divided by the same thing. You got 1. But for the second one is sine alpha, sine beta divided by cosine alpha, cosine beta. That will be sine alpha or cosine alpha gives us tangent alpha. Sine beta, cosine beta is tangent beta. Okay, so this basically gives us two formulas. Minus, here is minus, here is plus. You see, minus here, then here is minus, here is plus. Okay, for the tangent alpha plus beta, plus, here is plus, but here downstairs in denominator is subtraction. Okay, that's the formula. Now, with this formula, we can do at least one example, okay, which will be the example right here. To keep this video clip shorter, I'll stop